Richard Jackson is here. Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 18th, 10 a.m., and I'll call to order the Ottawa City Commission meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Mayor Crowley,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore,
Present.
Commissioner Graves,
Present.
Commissioner Kaler,
Present.
and Commissioner Clayton.
Present.
All right, we're all here. We'd like to welcome everybody, whether you're here in the room with us or if you're listening to us on some form of media. We'll start today with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Reverend Jay Pye from First United Methodist Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for your blessings upon us in this time of harvest. We believe you are taking care of our city and our people in Ottawa by your everlasting arms. Let us praise your name and give thanks for your grace and love. Lord, we pray for the leaders who work for our city and community. Give them your wisdom and knowledge to know what you want us to do for our community. Let them be strong and be generous as good servants of you. Help them to see the world as your perspectives. Give them your heart to accomplish your will with mercy and justice from you. Heavenly Father, we are all your children. Let us love and help one another in Jesus Christ. Let us think about our will first. Let us think about your will first and follow your direction. Give us your wisdom and courage to achieve your will through this meeting. Bring your Spirit upon us in this place and in this our heart. Lead this meeting. Bless your city and our leaders. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. That'll move us on to our consent agenda, which consists of the minutes from the October 2nd study session, the October 4th regular meeting, the appointment of our electric production superintendent David Hunsaker to the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency Board of Directors, the second position, and the agenda approval. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Can we have
Do
discussion?
you want to- Yes, please, sorry.
Yes.
Any discussion?
I'd like us to consider, there's something new on our agenda and something we typically review at study sessions. And I'm sure that there's a thought process behind this, but I was a bit surprised when I began reading the agenda about the third quarter reports. I certainly think it's important. I know that we all talk about them and about how important it is for citizens to be informed and to know what's going on in their city. We represent them. I'm just not sure that I am prepared to move through quarterly reports at this meeting.
I agree, Commissioner Kaler. When I saw this too, I was confused about why it was on today's meeting instead of a study session like it has been for the whole time I've been on the commission. I would be in favor of having it at a study session as we've always done it. Commissioners, how do you feel?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would give us time to review as well.
I think if that is the case, then we have to modify the motion because we have to modify the agenda.
So before we do that, do you want to have any discussion on any kind of particulars about, I know, when?
Of, just figure out it's the same schedule. And I think that that also is a nod to our departments so that they know when those things will be due, how those things will be coming to us. So if it's, the second Wednesday or, whatever day, second Sunday, just pick a day, and, or what works for, and I know that our city manager can certainly get to a place in which that he feels like that's a good spot in the calendar to put it. So just an idea.
Well-
Yeah, I would say also, yeah, late in the month, give the department heads time to put the numbers together, so I would suggest, 3 weeks maybe after the end of the quarter, which
Yeah.
would be about there right now.
Well, and I know our city manager had the idea of the other day of us changing to the 4 Wednesdays every month. So I think maybe before we make the decision on which day it is, let's have that discussion. I know coming up pretty soon. And then if we do decide to go to those 4 Wednesdays, then we can, implement one day, whether it's that third one or fourth one where the quarterly reports are reviewed.
I think that we probably need to note that, I recognize that we've talked about this for a couple minutes now. It's 15 times longer than we ever talk about the consent agenda in the time I've been here. But it is important to know that process is good, but change is good too. And change is something we can always count on. So we are looking at a few changes, and that's not a bad thing, but just note to the general public that a few changes just in how we process things.
Mr. City Manager, did you want to add something?
Just that I was unaware that we wanted to keep these on the study session, or that there was a historical precedent to it being uniformly delivered other than in a monthly format as opposed to a quarterly format. And so we chose today, being the ability to provide the greatest amount of information as quickly as possible, as that's when we could get the soonest turnaround time from the departments to the board. So we're happy to present it whenever. It's your report.
Appreciate
So
it.
ultimately, that's
Yep.
what we want to do.
Thank you. Okay. Do we want to, let's modify the motion
Yeah,
then.
I would modify the motion to remove the reports from the agenda to be discussed at the next study session, or
Well said. I would second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I think, just for a point of clarification, I think you need the same person who, if you
I think-
modified it, I think, did you make
I
the
had
second?
mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
I
I had
I
Zach
believe
as
so.
modifying, and so I was like, wait, are we doing it the right way? And somebody will tell me that I'm not doing it, that we're not doing it the right way, but
Appreciate that. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Thank you. All right, that moves us on to our regular agenda. Do we have any public comments?
We have none registered.
Thank you. All right, our declaration. At this time, I'd like to give the commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication they've had that might influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially.
Commissioners, I have been involved with the Legacy Square project really for multiple years, and maybe possibly even from the beginning, I would say probably. So I don't think it influences my ability to be impartial on this. However, I do want the public to know that I've been involved in this project.
And myself in that same category. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other declarations? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Item A.
Request for approval of resolution authorizing the preparation and submission of application to Kansas Housing Resources Corporation for Kansas Housing Investor Tax Credit Program.
Rockham LLC has asked for a resolution of support for a housing tax credit application to construct 7 duplexes in the Fairway Vista Patio Homes development. There is no direct impact on the city, and our city manager will be bringing this information to us. Good morning.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, yes, and I am presenting in place of our Neighborhood and Community Services Director, who's currently in municipal court on a different environmental code matter. Yes, this is a resolution authorizing the preparation and submission of a application to the Kansas Housing Resource Commission, or Corporation, for the Kansas Housing Investor Tax Credit Program. As the mayor stated, it is simply a pass-through item that would encourage development within essentially a development that's been completed, and there's 7 parcels that are available for a 14-unit duplex that would go in the 1,000 block to 1,200 block of Diamond Head. The resolution, again, does not constitute support or approval of any additional incentives and is not indicative of support or approval of the final plan or design. And if the project is awarded housing tax credits, the project developer must still comply with all requirements associated
Just by happenstance, wondered why we haven't developed it fully out there. There's just a lot of gaping holes. And this is certainly will fill that hole there that was along that Diamond Head Road. And again, this is just we are just a conduit. This is nothing obligating the city at all. We just have to, this is just part of the process. We have to approve this through the city commission. So with all that said, I'll make a motion we approve, where are we at here? Item A on our new business agenda.
I'll second that.
All right.
A second and a third, possibly.
Second and a third, I'll write that down.
Supported.
Motion and a second and a third. Do we have any discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
And Mayor Crowley?
I vote yes, motion is approved. Thank you. All right, item B.
Legacy Square proposal from Ottawa Community Partnerships, Inc.
OCPI is asking the city for a matching grant in the amount of $475,526.47 to help complete the Legacy Square project. This will also continue their fundraising efforts. Mr. Lee, are you the one speaking on this?
I think it'll be Ryan and myself.
Okay, whoever wants to come up first, or both.
Yeah.
Good morning,
The
gentlemen.
podium does go up and down at your will if you'd like it to.
I'm not sure that we've got a whole lot to add from what we discussed on Monday. I would like to clarify the parcels that we intend to deed to the city. There's two parcels. One is the park area directly south of First Street, and the second piece is north of First Street where the playground is. And so those are the two pieces that comprise what OCPI currently has in our name.
Ryan, would you like to add anything?
I just wanted to, clarify that the continuation of the project would be to complete that connection between Legacy and Main Street, and then improve Main Street as well with some audio and things like that. So we'll tie the whole project together, which was the original intent of that project, is to help enhance and build more foot traffic for downtown businesses.
Gentlemen, we normally have some viewers today that we typically don't on our study session. So if one of you could kind of just give an overview of what we discussed Monday, that would be appreciated, just of what OCP is asking of the city. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Do you want to do
wonder-
kind of what you did last time on
Sure.
what the project looks like?
Please,
and then I'll-
yes.
And then I'll do a little bit of the financials.
Thank you.
Okay.
So as Ryan mentioned, this is a continuation of the Legacy Square project. We're calling this Connecting the Legacy. And what this really is the missing piece of the original project. Legacy Square has lived up to its promise of being a community venue. As I mentioned on Monday, there's a number of events that take place there on a regular basis. We have a group of bike riders that start there every day, and a local business kind of leads that. That local business is here partly because of Legacy Square and its connection to the trail systems. And so they are using that on a regular basis. The Bad Astra bike race, where this last year they had 170 riders. That's up from 130 in 2022. That event starts and ends at Legacy Square. We also have the Unity Festival, Good Friday service, OU Fusion, Flea Junk and Trunk, Ladies Night Out, which brings in this year roughly 500 folks. With about 10% of those from outside of the county and about 25% of those from outside the city limits. So again, another event that is bringing people to the community. And then we also had, we sponsored 2 summer concerts that occurred there at Legacy Square. And all of those events that I just mentioned are annual events. So those are happening each and every year. And if we use the Bad Astra bike race as an example, they are growing. In total, since we had a ribbon cutting in 2019, there's been over 50 events. We don't have numbers on how many people that's drawn to town, but 50 is not an insignificant number, especially when you consider the COVID time that was right in the middle of that. So in many ways, that event space is just now beginning to blossom and grow. So as a part of that project, we originally intended to, and we worked real hard on including this piece in that overall project, but due to circumstances beyond our control, we weren't able to make that happen. We feel like those circumstances today are much more favorable, and we would like to move forward with that project. And that project is going to include a matching canopy that will be the tie-in from Main Street to Legacy Square. There'll be a concrete path along with landscaping and those sorts of things. The concept plans that we have, and they're just concept plans at this point. We don't have any design plans or anything like that. But the concept plans show wall murals on the two buildings to add some appeal to that area. And then the other thing that we plan to add as a part of this project is a sound system, not just for Legacy Square, but for Main Street that would tie all of that together. It's something that that I would say that we've needed to do for quite some time, and we're including that in this project as one of the key pieces to tie everything together. And so, and then I'll let Ryan talk a little bit about the finances.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. So the total project of the existing Legacy ended up being about $4.9 million for that entire project. As David mentioned, and originally the intent was to do that in phases and fundraise for that as we had the ability to gather and get those funds and kind of build that out in phases. But we were fortunate enough to have one of our major donors step up, Fashion Inc., and donate in kind the material to go ahead and complete that in one strike. So we moved forward with that process. Now, as we were doing fundraising, a lot of our donors pledged their gifts over multiple years, somewhere between 3 and 5 years, many of them, some a little bit longer. So as we move forward to complete that project in one swoop, we had a gap in financing, what we were waiting to collect over future years to complete that project. So when we did that, we had to take out a note to kind of carry that debt as we were collecting and continuing to get our funds in. And so that's the financials I want to walk you through, kind of where we're at today and then what we're looking forward towards. So that original note was a little over $900,000. Over that time, and we did see one little hiccup called COVID in 2020. So we opened that park in 2019. Obviously, we all know what 2020 looked like into 2021. So that set us back just a bit on being able to go out and add more fundraising efforts. But over that time, we have paid down over $270,000 on that note. So as we sit here today, with interest, there's still about $673,000. We still have outstanding pledges, just under $125,000. We have about a little over $72,000 in cash in the bank. So that brings the total owed on that note down to about $475,000, which is the number that I think is in front of you. As David mentioned, we felt like this was a good time to complete the project as intended. So the new dollars that we have in your financials are to add the speakers, as David mentioned, to acquire and connect and improve that land in between, and then to complete that project, and then, as David mentioned, deed the entire property back over to the city. That fundraising is going to come from many different efforts. We already have many of our partners committed to in-kind donations. So Fashion has stepped up again and offered to give the materials for the structures like they did on the first phase. Melanie's here from Penny's Concrete. They have stepped up and offered to help us with material and concrete. Jack Thompson has offered to install. We have a lot of partners that are, Luma Vista has stepped up to offer landscaping, and the rest of that fundraising will come from our efforts as a board. And then also being able to go out and acquire some grants for these projects as well. Mr. Crowley, did I cover?
Yes, no, thank you.
Okay,
I appreciate
I want to
that.
make sure I'm not missing anything that you feel is vital.
And I may have misunderstood Mr. Lee earlier. I know you mentioned 2 addresses that would be deeded over, but I'm assuming that would include the 3rd address of Main Street down there, once that's, okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think, do we have that address on here? We do not. Okay,
124.
124.
Appreciate
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Henningsen or Mr. Lee?
I will add to that, I know Ted Cruz was here about a year ago, whether you like him or not. A pretty famous senator was here at Legacy Square about a year ago. So we've had some great events there. I do see on the front of this image here that says Legacy Square into All Trails Park. It's the first time I've seen that name. Is that something recent, All Trails Park? Or is that just, it's been around for a while?
Yeah, no, I think that was just some of the original artwork that
Just to
was
say,
created,
okay.
but no, that is not a
Okay.
plan or anything.
Well, it may not like it. The fact that I think Commissioner Clayton brought up here previously about how important it is. We've got 2 intersecting trails here, and I've often mentioned that that just begging to be promoted, and this Legacy Square has certainly helped promote that when you see the bicyclists going back and forth. I guess there's no way to determine the economic value of this investment of $475,000 here. Any comment on that, or any way to measure that? We don't know, because like you said, 50 events, but then all those people come spend money. We have no idea how much and what they spend it.
Well, as you know, I'm a numbers guy, so the simplest number I can put on there is the total value of the project is a little over $5 million from an asset value of what's been invested for that total project. But I think maybe to answer your question more directly, the economic impact of that, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about that in our board meetings. I know, I don't want to speak for Ryland, but I know he has been using some new software and some tools to capture, help me out, Ryland, is it cell phone data that you're able to, okay.
It doesn't track spending, but it does track where people are coming from and where else they're going.
Yeah, so we're trying to do a better job of, in Ryland Chamber, to understand who is coming into the community as a cause of some of these events and utilization of downtown Annie Legacy.
And for people listening to this as well, our city's contribution originally was very limited, except in in-kind methods of services that we provided. So this is the first time we're looking at this significant amount of cash coming from the city coffers, just so people know that.
I think one thing with this project that's important to note as well, traveling around, there's no public restrooms that I'm aware of on Main Street other than Legacy Square. And when you travel a lot, always need to use the restroom, and you're sneaking into a store trying to do something. I think the benefit to people who visit downtown to have a public restroom, people who are here biking in the park, as small as that may seem, is invaluable.
That's a good point, Mr. Clayton. That was one thing that when we did these original studies before Legacy even became a vision, what did we call that study session that we did over at the church? The what?
The charrettes.
Charrette, yeah, study. That was one need that continued to rise from multiple folks, is that we did not have public restrooms in the downtown area. So that was a key component in that design and that project.
I have a question, not so much for Ryan or David or anybody, but Director Landis, what would that funding look like coming from the city?
Sure. So we have originally talked about using part of the remaining ARPA funding that was available. And so that's been our discussion to this point. Open to more conversation about that.
And that was kind of the purpose of that funding, right? To improvements outdoors and improvements in quality of life and
Absolutely.
and-
Yes.
Mr. Henningsen, you gave us an initial cost of the project of $4.9 million. So that cost, it doesn't wrap up the other stuff that you're planning on doing, right? So I mean, it's the total cost of the project's going to be well over $5 million.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, our current budget on this completion, what we're calling Connecting Legacy, is just about 1.2.
Yeah.
Yep.
So closer to really over 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if anybody's been downtown Lawrence, you'll see one of these or two of these around town as well, connecting parking lots to the main street. And they're well used when I've been there, so sure saves a lot of walking, but yeah, that's a good idea.
And Mr. Cohen just reminded me that, I don't want to throw another plan on here, but we did have original intent to have electric chargers over here at Legacy as well. I think we even had conversations with Evergy about possibly installing that. So that's just one more thing that could be installed in the future to improve some facilities for.
But a great thing to our community.
Gentlemen, do you have a deadline that you would need a decision made by the commission?
We don't have a deadline for you. I appreciate you didn't make me think of one thing I forgot to say. So our commitment to this project and to you as a commission, if you decide to move forward with us, is that we would we have a deadline that we set for ourselves to complete the fundraising, additional fundraising for this project by the end of October next year, 2024. So it would be a pretty aggressive project to complete, and we wouldn't begin construction of this new phase until that is complete. But a deadline for you all, we do not have. No.
Well, and the reason I ask about a deadline is, commissioners, I mean, this information was just brought to us Monday. This is our second review, and I myself, I don't feel like I like the project. I like the idea. I just don't know if I'm comfortable making a decision today. I think if we could review this for, in my opinion, if we could review this another study session or so, and certainly make a decision at a study session, I would be okay with that. I'm just not comfortable today, and I'm willing to do whatever the commission is wanting to do, but just my opinion. That's why I ask about the deadline.
I would agree. I think I would like to work with Director Landis and find out where the money really is all coming from first. Kind of dot our T's, cross our I's before we make a pledge and make that true commitment. But I think it's a great project. I think it's definitely something to really look into. So.
Any other discussion?
I hope the members of the committee can sense the positivity of our commission. I would agree with others, though, that perhaps the rest of the public, giving them more time to respond and give their inputs as well might be a good idea. And in fact, that we can improve this at a study session gives me more comfort not to make a decision today, but again, hope you sense the positivity spoken of up here where this may be heading.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate your time.
So commissioners, on item B, how would you like to act?
I would move that we approve item B to our next study session to have more discussion, if that's how that motion works.
I think we just table it.
Yeah.
Table
I think,
it.
yeah, if commissioners, you okay with tabling this item for
Yeah.
our next study session? Okay, we'll do that.
Let's do that.
Thank you. Thank you all for showing up this morning. We appreciate your time. We will be skipping item C. Item D, please.
Resolution approving the final plat and accepting the dedication of all easements and right-of-ways with the Victory Plaza development.
Victory Plaza is a two-lot plat allowing the construction of Victory Ottawa and built in two phases. A public hearing was held by the Planning Commission, and city engineer considers the plat drawing issued satisfactorily resolved. Mr. City Manager, welcome back.
Nice job.
Well, a little over 6 months in, and I just realized the podium could
Okay,
be
well, I'm glad you're using it.
electronically raised. That wasn't on my
Learn something every
onboarding.
day.
So, bringing out the inner 4-year-old in me. Honorable Mayor and Commission, this is a request to approve the resolution approving the final plat and accepting the dedication of all easements and right-of-way for Victory Plaza development. This item was presented to the City Commission, the Planning Commission on October 16th, 2023, and was originally held under a public hearing on September 8th, 2021. And this includes, again, the dedication of the relocated dealership. It's built in 2 phases with the replat of Track 2 from the lot split of Lot 45 occurring on the subdivision number 1, which can be seen at the top of the plat map in the title page. I want to note, too, that 1/4 of this property is located along or within along that south boundary line of the 100-year floodplain that did require conditional letter of map review from FEMA for the called Clomar-F, which that application has been approved by FEMA, and this resolution simply approves the final plat and acknowledges acceptance and dedication of all easements and right-of-way. This resolution was crafted by our city attorney, Blaine Finch, and so, as such, staff recommends approval of the resolution approving the final plat and accepting the dedication of all easements and right-of-way for the Victory Plaza development.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for our city manager on this item? If not, how would you like to act?
Only comment I would have, I see on here that you guys are doing bi-weekly meetings for the 23rd Street construction. Would we be able to keep the public appraised of kind of this current situation when we have those meetings on timelines and what the future looks like for that roadway?
We'll certainly implement a
Those are also about the building.
Yeah.
So, and that's really a
Right.
public-private
I'm just-
conversation, right? I mean,
I think we get a lot of questions. I know I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you guys all do. People probably call City Hall. I think it's proactive and in our best interest to, if we know that there's a delay in water pipe that's going to delay the road another 2 weeks or month, that is what would be my ask, would be to just, when we have those meetings regarding the roadway and travel passage, that we communicate that out.
and
but
I'm
it's not
sorry.
about the private investment that is happening in the building process for
No.
the private industry.
No.
Yeah, that's not a,
No,
Right.
just,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
specifically
So
just
make
the
sure.
roadway and the impact to people who use
Right,
that for.
and I'm sorry I wasn't clear. Yeah, we were essentially the timeline and disclosure of what the anticipated duration or continued duration of the roadway impediment would be. So I apologize if I wasn't clear on that.
Any other discussion? How would you like to act?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd make the motion to approve item D as listed on the agenda.
thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any other discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
And Mayor Crowley?
I vote yes. Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll move us on to item E.
Authorize city park playground equipment purchase.
Requesting approval to purchase playground equipment for the city park from the 2023 budget. Director Hafley, good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. This is kind of an odd request in that we haven't known about this opportunity for very long, so that's kind of why we're bringing it to you in this short of a manner, asking for permission to pursue it. But what you have before you is an opportunity for the city to purchase playground equipment at basically half the cost. Game Time and Cunningham Recreation are offering a grant, if you will, that will match dollar for dollar anything over $75,000, any playground equipment over $75,000. So as the memo states, using an example, an $80,000 piece of playground equipment would cost the city $40,000 because Game Time and Cunningham Recreation would pick up the remainder of that balance by matching dollar for dollar what we spend. So this is actually a pretty good deal. I apologize, like I said, for the short notice, but we do need to have our application in by the 20th, which is Friday. So the money is in the special parks budget for this, although we did have the purchase of this playground program for next year, for 2024. But with this opportunity, I see it more important to take advantage of that and make the purchase this year and use those funds that we have set aside next year for the surfacing and other things that would go along with that.
If I read correctly, and we pay the shipping as well. Is that
We would
right?
pay, that's correct. We would pay the shipping, and the estimated shipping is somewhere around $5,000.
Still a good deal. Now, the old equipment, we have a source or a place for that?
Actually, the old equipment, I can't answer that. We wouldn't want to put it back in service for us, for the city. It's in need of replacement.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're replacing it, so.
I didn't
Yeah.
know if there was still useful life for some other community in our area to use this equipment and rather than be trashed, or if it's not safe, then maybe we need to get rid of it.
Well, I think that's about where
Okay.
we're at. We can reach out to a few other cities and see if they'd be interested, put it on Purple Wave or whatever, but, you know, you gotta remember that those posts, everything that's in the ground is in concrete, so that concrete would all have to be busted off and to be reset. And it probably more work than what it's worth and may not be much left under that concrete either, so.
So it appears as though there's like two different areas there. And one, I mean, to really be quite honest, I played on when I was a child. The other one, I think, was donated by a leadership class. The last one, the one that's kind of the red and tan, I think it was a leadership class donation.
Could have been.
I'm,
It predates me, Commissioner, so
I'm-
I can't answer that.
I'm almost sure that that's the, and it wasn't mine, but before that. And they do look dramatically different because they're obviously from different eras. And so I know that we have individuals on our staff that are certified to put in playground equipment and to test playground equipment and to make sure that it's safe and good. And so I could understand just visually, I'm not a certified playground installer, that the hot metal slide in July probably is not going to meet regulations.
That's correct.
But the other, I mean, we've all seen it. We've all gone down that slide, and it hurts in July and August. The red and tan structure, it doesn't meet safety.
It doesn't, and it's rusting out. It's got its own set of problems. It 15 to 20 years is about what the playgrounds are about good for, their lifespan, and we are there or over.
I was going to say, I'm just a little over 20 years. I mean, I don't know how the other one, but I get it. Okay, so you are, and then do we have any idea? I mean, we weren't presented with any idea on like what the design looks like, what the equipment's going to look like. What can we tell the public that we're buying for this?
What we can tell the public is that everything that is in those structures right now will be there with the new set. It will just look different, but everything that's there will be part of the new playground set to make it,
Even the retro stuff?
yeah, something similar,
Okay.
Commissioner. It won't be an exact match,
Right.
but it will be similar to
Gonna
that.
replicate the
Yes.
amenities.
Yes.
And there'll be a focus on, pardon me, Director Hafley, on mobility impaired, so.
Inclusiveness.
And essentially what we're doing, because of this opportunity that was presented to us by Public Works through Mike and DJ, is taking the 24 project and breaking it essentially into 2 fiscal years because of this opportunity to get a one-for-one dollar match, where we would purchase the equipment this year, and then also simultaneously in November, KDHE's tire recycling program, which was used for the Legacy Park the Legacy Park playground, was the same kind of funding mechanism for that. So we would be utilizing that with the application window opening here in November and closing in January of '24 for a pour in place, that kind of foamy, rubbery, recycled tire that meets ADA standards, so that individuals who have mobility impairments could utilize the sidewalk as well as a zero grade entry for the surface material to access those play equipment appliances that would be geared toward individuals with mobility issues. So essentially, we took the 24 project, buying the equipment this year to grab the match, and then continuing with the anticipation for a Q1 2024 kind of mobilization, understanding that there'll be a lot of work going on in that park area as we proceed with the splash pad. That'll be just immediately to the west of this area, also under construction at that time. So there'll be a lot going on, but hopefully by May, definitely by Memorial Day, that space will look brand new. Thank you. Sorry.
I appreciate the fact, City Manager Selcott, that you brought up the splash pad because it is in the memo, and just wanted to make sure that the public knows that, I mean, because we've had this conversation about the splash pad for over a year, but these dollars are not taking away from the splash pad project. The splash pad project is still moving forward.
That's
Absolutely.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate Commissioner Kaler's history and memory of playing on this equipment when it was first built. I remember playing with a rock and a stick at that location, so that's way
That's all they
back.
had. That's
Well, I know.
Fifth Street and Sixth
And
Street.
we loved it.
Commissioner.
Anyway, I think it's a great idea, a good opportunity. I know we have a short window to make a decision on this, but still the same half price is hard to beat, so I'll make a motion we approve item B on our agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
And Mayor Crowley?
I vote yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Director Hinckley. That'll move us on to comments by our city manager.
Yes, I'll keep it short. We'll have the Q3 reports at the October 23rd study session. We'll also at that time present the OCPI with a recommended, essentially a regular agenda report that you are used to seeing with the recommended funding stream at that time. And then also want to remind everyone that on November 1st, we'll have our community partners funding presentations for the 2024 fiscal year.
Thank you. Comments by city commissioners. Commissioner Graves?
I have no comment.
Commissioner Kaler?
I believe that at least 3, if not 4, maybe more of us are heading to the Kansas Municipal Energies Conference tomorrow, and remind everybody that please don't take for granted that when you flip on the light that it comes on. It's not. It comes with great thought that goes into that, and we are blessed to own our own utility here in the city of Ottawa.
Thank you. Commissioner Clayton?
Just following up on what Commissioner Kaler was mentioning about the park, I know all the new playground equipment will be a lot safer, but I hope kids are able to have the same core memories that I do of that slide burning and getting my feet pinched between those boards on that bridge. I have so many great memories down in City Park, and I hope with this new equipment and stuff, kids will, for generations to come as well. So with that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Mayor Pro
Define
Tem
great.
Skidmore.
Just a piece of wax paper in that slide really does wonders. That gives you some speed and everything you enjoy, so right. But I want to add on to the Rockham event here. We're talking about these houses coming in. I do appreciate their investment in our community this way. I think they live all out of town, but they see a great benefit of building these duplexes in Ottawa. So I just want to tell them thank you for their investment. Looking forward to getting those opened up and get them rented. That's all I had.
Thank you. I have no additional comments. I have a few announcements. October 23rd, we have our study session here at City Hall at 4 p.m., along with October 30th, and then November 1st is our next regular meeting at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. So anything else to come before the